Peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, shalom. Hotep, Islam, Alafia. What's going on, family? What's going on? What's going on? Happy Monday, happy Monday. Yes, yes, happy Monday. Man, I haven't done a podcast in a little minute. You know, life be lifing, but I'm back. I'm back with another banger. That's right, I'm back with another banger. Today, man, we have a very special guest. Brother Omuwale. That's right, Brother Omuwale of Black VegFest. Black VegFest, all right? So he's coming on in just a few, all right? So in the meantime, in between time, just a few housekeeping items. Family, remember, we are online bookstore, number one online bookstore on social media, DTR360books.com. Right now, we're revamping and redesigning our website, but all of our books are still on our current website, which is DTR360books.com. And we have our podcast show, which is episode 50. We are 50 episodes in right now. So, man, alhamdulillah, we've come a long way. If you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's right. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit us up on Spotify. Make sure you follow us there. We are on all podcast outlets. Peace. And yeah, man, just support. Support is free 99. So make sure you support your boy. Brother Omuwale, if you're in, you can send a request. If you're in, you can send a request. Brother Omuwale, if you're in, you can send a request. All right, family, so thank you. If you can hear me, drop a book emoji. If you can hear me, drop a book emoji. All right? So we got a very special guest, Brother Omuwale of Black VegFest. Talking about being a vegan, right? Talking about farms. Man, this is a good brother right here, y'all. So make sure y'all tap in, y'all stay tuned. For real. Peace, bro. Peace.
Peace. What's going on?
Not much. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you very well.
Indeed. Man, all right, man. Well, thank you for coming on, man, first and foremost, man. I know there's been about a year, 2 years. I mean, trying to tap in with you to do a podcast interview. So, thank you for accepting my invitation. And thank you for all that you do, first and foremost.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe this conversation definitely needs to be had. You've been coming to Black Veg Fest, often. We love it. I think you're a great resource in our community. So I'm ready. Let's fire away.
Yes, sir. All right, man, let's do it. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Hotep, Islam, Alafia. Peace, family. What's going on? Happy Monday. Once again, man, we have a very special guest here with us today, Brother Omuwale of Black Veg Fest, one of the largest festivals in New York City, hands down. All right, so today, he's going to be talking about his life. He's an author, he's a dad, he's an entrepreneur, all right, and he's a farm owner as well. So, man, we're going to tap into that, man, and all of the above. All right, so let's get into it, man. Brother Omuwale, again, man, thank you for coming in. Thank you for tapping in with DTR 360 Book Podcast. This is episode 50, man. We are 50 episodes in. So, first and foremost, man, tell the people a little bit about yourself and your upbringing for people who may not know you.
Well, I really come up in the movement. Brooklyn. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. And I became vegan. I'll start there. Just only about 10, 11 years ago. For about maybe 30 years now, no meat, and came to that process based on health. Went through became a vegetarian. That's why we have a transition mindset, that we allow people to really go through a transition when they come to Black Veg Fest or anything we putting out about veganism in our community. Essentially, we being beautiful with the people, we being gentle with the folks, who come in, and we giving them information instead of, preaching to them. And so this is some of the the organizing, training that I've learned by doing, not just by, you got to pick up the books. You got to pick up the books. The information is in the books, but how to actually utilize them,
Right.
that's a key. You can literally, there's a lot of people who, listen, Malcolm X sold a lot of books now. Not all those people organizing in the work, you know what I mean? And look, I'm lifting their people. So be clear. You got to find people who are in the work, who lift, can lift you up and that work and center the work. So very, very important. My mom was a Black Panther Party organizer in Brooklyn out of the Sutter office. I really, from my young life, I've been passing out flyers. I know so much about the political campaign with the School for Political Science. I didn't have to finish. I didn't finish. I'll say I didn't finish. Once I got a job, I was working in New York State Assembly for a number of years, senior staff. I had, basically, I've managed successful political campaigns and unsuccessful political campaigns. This is passing out leaflets. This is door to door, work that we did. This is doing database, research. This is inputting database, information, as well. This is all part of organizing. This is educating folks. This is, educating, schools people how a bill becomes a law, so all of this particular work, I bring this political, consciousness that centers Black people. And so when I say that, I mean, even if you call yourself a Moor for African or an African, you still trying to figure yourself out. Now we might come on here a lot of times, and understand I've been in this work for a very long time. I'm 46. My whole entire adult life, we still developing. Once you understand you still developing, you still growing, you could take information in, you could see what's no longer admissible, what's no longer great. Like, and I'll give you one example and move on. One example is like, don't tell everybody that was happening. Fam, we passed that. We used to do that. Y'all taking, it's like y'all in a book with early edition. Nah, we already on something else. That's not what it is. So, because when you don't tell the masses, they dead you before you could get it out there. When you tell the masses, at least the masses now know you alive, and that consciousness subject that you are raising is also on people's minds. However, if you want to keep it to yourself, and I also think that's a selfish way. I think most times people are saying that is selfish. Not that they don't want white folks to mess with their, ish, or, folks in our community to sidetrack them. However, folks already did that in the movement. I already talked to Panthers, who've been in there, who are seniors, they're elders. We done with that, fam. So if you got a dialectical understanding, meaning that people could pass information through you, you can analyze it and then you can move forward, then you understand how to take data and make it usable. Otherwise, it's cognitive, dissonance. And that's where you just fall into whatever you already been shaped into. You can't be moved out of that mindset. You got that particular mindset. So, yeah. That's why I come from. I love my people, and I believe that I'm gonna center my people. I'm not gonna center my people just because somebody died. I'm not gonna center my people just because I'm on a good day. I'm not gonna center when I make issue, when I have problems, I need to be accountable. So all of these are lessons. There's so many lessons, in our books, but also in our elders that are passing away. Rest in peace, Baba Sekou Odinga, who did 35 years.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Mutulu Shakur. We have so many. We got our political prisoners, Kamal Siddiqui, that are still locked up, folks who, are ailing, and so our goal my particular goal was always to establish Black space. And what that means is that we have to start centering ourselves. We don't do that. We don't center ourselves. And also another thing, which it's gonna take level, it's gonna take self-defense mindset and a self-defense physical for for folks to basically go out in the world and speak to our neighbors and speak to the bank like we speak to our neighbors. We know how we speak into neighbors. We know how we speak in the community. When you speak to the bank like that way, then we talking about something. So I really manifest that. Meaning I'm going to talk to the bank. You know what I mean? I'm gonna save my compassion for my community as I'm developing, so we could talk about humankind, mankind, but we got to first center our community right now, and we in a lot of shambles. So you see me out here in the farm, and then food was always a passion, for me, and health, and when I became vegetarian at 15, I basically said to myself, I got to get healthier, or rather, it was brought to me by my older brother. I got to get healthier. And then, through the years, I started organizing, wanting universal health care. But then this is universal health care. Once I realized like the food was the medicine, but also the nutrition, I said, oh my goodness, we right here. But I found out that our people were kicked off the land. We lost 16 million acres.
Right.
That is approximately $360 billion from between 1865, talking about Emancipation Proclamation, to now. We've lost 16 million acres. And guess where we lost the most acreage? And guess where we lost the most acreage and we left the land? During the Great Migration between 1910 and 1970. And that particular period, that's when you went to the west. That's when you went from north. That's when you went from the south to the north.
Yeah.
You were pushed out. White folks scared you. Malcolm put consciousness in you for you not to be so afraid and for you to defend. People, we talk about Malcolm. We don't even understand what Malcolm did for us.
Right.
Malcolm made us walk around here and like, man, I wish you would try to move me off of here. Malcolm gave us that consciousness because he was on TV in 1959 and spoke to us. And they thought it was just going to be about religion. They ain't never putting a black man that powerful on TV. You ain't never see it again. I don't want to hear about nobody who ever been on TV. After Malcolm X was, 1959, he scared folks. They're like, hold on a second. Then they were like, okay, you got to explain to us what y'all doing, because Nation of Islam was deep. And that history, now that Nation of Islam history, comes from Marcus Garvey. And so that's why we are raising up Marcus Garvey on August 17th on his birthday. He is the one. He is the one that helped us understand the African diaspora. Before that, we didn't even understand how much we were connected to the entire black diaspora, the black African diaspora all around. He made that clear for us, and he made that clear for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is early 20th century. He met. He's not the only person. He also raised up for the rosters. The reason why we know what's going on in Ethiopia or Haile Selassie is because Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
That's his consciousness.
Yeah.
He brought that consciousness, to it. So when we start understanding and stepping into, exactly what we need to understand, and then how we could perform better in our lives, it will be crystal clear to us. You'll be working for yourself. So, so I'm out here. Farming is the hardest work because it never ends. It's always. You might have particular, insects. You might have too much water, not enough water. You see, we doing a large space. It's not a garden, so there's a lot to manage in when you're doing farming. However, I love it so much. Me and my wife, we love it. Yes.
No, that was a great introduction, man. That was a great introduction, man. But I just have some questions to ask you real quick, brother. So you mentioned, veganism, right? Veganism, at least today, is a little commercialized, right? You have Vegan Day, that's a big festival, which is like in multiple cities and so forth. You touched on Black VegFest, right? And I want to get into how it was implemented and started. But before that, talk to us about what do you see Black VegFest in the future as? Do you see it as you expanding to multiple cities, right? So right now it's in Brooklyn. Do you think you will expand to Philly? Do you think you will expand to Houston? So on and so forth.
So that's a great question. That's a really great question. Since we came out in 2018, two things have happened. People have asked us, about coming to their city. We've even had folks in other countries like, yo, can y'all put a chapter, Black Veg Fest here, all of this. And the first chapter organization that I was a part of, building, actually did have a chapter in Lagos, Nigeria. It was based in New York City, but we had chapters in Baltimore, VA. We were building, even on the West Coast as well. But let me tell you something. We thinking like we're gonna make sure we create the base here. You got to create a real strong, ground. So there's not a soft landing, but it's foundation, and it takes time. So I see when other folks are doing it, and they just trying to just chop. I'm not a capitalist. I might be an entrepreneur. I might build business, but I don't have a capitalist mindset. You know what I mean? So, and that takes some time for folks to unpack. To really understand that, but we really want to focus on where we are right now in Brooklyn. Folks have come from as far as Australia since the first one. We know people come from around the country. They come from around the city. When they come to Black Veg Fest, they understand we're talking more than food. We're talking about the animals. We're talking about health. We're talking about climate change, but we also talking about Black liberation. And I want folks to understand what Black liberation is, because New York City and Brooklyn in particular is very critical to Black liberation. Harriet Tubman, passed through to Brooklyn and went to Brooklyn, literally based in Brooklyn. We talking about, and so you got Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman. Is it Boulevard? Anyway, Harriet Tubman Avenue or Boulevard is where Fulton Street was. So she came and she stopped on Fulton Street. You know what I mean? That's history. That's Brooklyn right there. How far was the base that other folks would cling to and share resources with other former slaves? Not far, only a few blocks. We're talking about Weeksville Heritage Center, where Brooklyn, where Black Veg Fest had last festival. That was last year. So Weeksville was started in 1838. So they were passing through. They know there was a connection between Weeksville Heritage Center. That was the first Black space in Brooklyn. Let me say that. So there's a connection to Harriet Tubman Way. It's Harriet Tubman Ross Way. It came to me. So on Fulton Street. So we got to make that connection. So until I know that there's 100 people who know that straight off bat, if 100 people come to me one day, that's when we done. Or if it's 1,000 people, that has to happen in one day before we feel like we done did some base. Yeah, I know some folks are going around and different festivals are going in different cities and so on and so forth. Yeah, they trying to make some bread. They trying to get some bread right here. I get that. I'm not gonna hate on that. But we've been turning people down. We don't care what folks doing over there. We got to send to our community. Sometimes we focusing on what other folks doing, and it doesn't mean that we chilling and we rich. We just like, nah, we feeling rich inside. We feeling great. We feeling good. We feeling like we understand our plan. Once you understand your mission, like I have children. Once we understand our mission, we thinking in our minds, you're gonna be thinking, wow, they need to have a legacy left for them. You're gonna be thinking about the legacy after you done made some money, but guess who many people you done scarred and you done tripped on, just to get some dollars, So I want to put that out there. So yeah, we in due time we will be building in other cities. People still ask us to build in other spaces. Then the other thing that happened was that there was locations coming up saying they were Black Vegan Festival or Black Veg Fest, or like they were affiliated. And the main problem, which is a huge problem we had with it, because we understand they want to get some bread too. Right. They didn't understand the context of what Black was. They were commercializing the aspect of Black. So just to get black people to follow it. But what if you following folks? What if people are following you off the cliff because you don't even understand yourself?
Right.
You don't have no organization. You don't have no political consciousness. You can't connect no black people to nothing in terms of information on housing, in terms of information on food, on health, on anything, on books. If you don't have that kind of grounding, that kind, family building, then like don't ask people to lead. Don't ask, if you could lead people. Look for more leadership, look for more allyship, and build within our community. So in due time, we definitely will do that. But right now, we building a base, and it's a beautiful thing that we're doing right now. Just building this base right here, it's incredible. And we're gonna have so many folks come into Lincoln Terrace Park in Brooklyn. This is my background. It's Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
So that's just another reason. I'm just gonna love it.
Right. Right. Indeed, man. We're talking about Black Veg Fest, man. Again, man, one of the largest festivals in New York City. August 17th, family. August 17th, which is also Marcus Garvey Born Day, which is also Black August month. All right. So talk about Black Veg Fest, man. How did it become what it became? Black
Yeah.
Veg Fest.
So in 2013, I really had this understanding that, well, that's also when I became vegan, right? So I became vegan then, and I was like, man, I'm ready at this point, like 20 years not eating meat, but I stopped doing dairy, just all of dairy, that one particular day in April. But that same year, I thought about there being a Black Veg Fest. So between that year and 2014, we had locked down the website, but there was still more to go, more to put together. So the consciousness that I felt was necessary was like, what do we have to focus on? We had to focus on the communities, food, right? I understood I was doing it for the animals, I started out for health, and then when I went vegan, I was doing it more for the animals. But I needed to be more tactical because I needed to do it for, my own health, but I also needed to do it for the animals. But I also needed to understand the connection to, being able to harness our own energy. The energy that we have, the CO2 emissions that come and pollute, that warm up, our Earth. The way we, overproduce, is also an issue. So how do these things also, all connect? We're going to discuss those at Black Veg Fest, more clearly with some incredible folks like Dr. Milton Mills, Dr. Lucky, who came last time. And I'm also going to be talking a lot about farming. So how do we actually get the food? We need to grow the food. What is one of the problems, in our community? We don't even know enough black
Right.
farmers. If y'all know me, now y'all know a black farmer, or in addition to the folks that you know of. So we have to be able to have that connection to the food. I mean, at some point I was realizing like, wait, I need to actually get right to the source, how to actually grow the food. I'm writing about it, I'm speaking about it, all these different things we have in events, but how do I actually connect and give folks the food, not just the cooked food, but also the food that needs to be grown, and we need to know what's in the food. We could talk about issues of labeling. We could talk about organic, over non-organic, non-GMO over GMO. We could talk about all of that, but we also have to talk about food sovereignty.
Right.
We need to own we need to have the decision to do what we want to do. We grow what we want to grow. I mean, what do folks think the percentage is of of the food processors, the folks who produce the food? Do they even hear from us? Do they even care? So I'm gonna tell you, as a farmer, they don't care. We're right now involved in a USDA, discrimination case, and folks might be seeing right now, because the Biden-Harris administration, talking about, they're putting funds into, black farmers. We know that's based on, just the campaign, but I'm gonna tell y'all the real. We really don't own any of this food, but we work best for this country as consumers. And so this is what Black VegFest has been trying to do. So when you see the vendors, these are folks who are small owners, so they're small business owners. We're owning the food, so we own the food. We want to bring more farmers into the process as well. Have the farmers there, selling what they have. The folks who make the butters, the folks who make the beauty or cosmetic, products, clothing. We want all of that. We want that. We want a sizable amount of that to come from black businesses. Anyone could come and be a part of a Black Veg Fest. We did close um, registration,
Okay.
but we want folks to know that, in terms of vendor registration, but we want folks to know that this is a black-centered, it's a black-centered vegan space. So when you come into this space, it's a cultural space. You're getting, the best of the culture, because it's the folks, it's for the folks who are developing, it's for us, by us, essentially.
Right. So, brother, this is an educational platform as well. So, for someone who is trying to produce and create a festival like Black Veg Fest, was it difficult to establish and create? And what other challenges did you meet and obviously overcome to have such a great festival as Black Veg Fest?
Well, I'll tell you the challenges are mainly if one, there's different types of festivals. You just want to do a festival that's just, you want to ensure that folks are going to be healthy. I feel like sometimes that could be problematic because if you're someone who's black, we're generally pushing, a European, food system, an American food system that's white. Generally, just the different foods that we have, coming up. That's why it's important to talk about, collard greens, black-eyed peas, okra, watermelon. These are foods, this is important. So this consciousness, if you're going to, start a festival, what's your purpose? What's your reasoning? I'm not one of those folks that's going to be like, going to get into like a get rich plan, but I can help folks organize, in terms of how to put the pieces together, how to navigate. New York City has an incredible bureaucracy, so it's tough to be able to put an event on the ground here in the city, but we can definitely help with that. I think the difficulty is the bureaucracy in the different cities. I would say paying certain folks, not paying certain folks, but being able to get around just the city permits and things of the nature.
Yeah.
That might be a little tougher, for some folks, But I would say that the easiest parts, a lot often are the people. Take time, to find out what people want. What do folks in our community, actually, want. You want to reach out to press. We feel like at this particular point, most folks are going to come to us, but we still want to make sure, we reach out to other people as well. It's reaching out to many different organizations, often. That is critical. It's reaching out to as many organizations as possible in your community, because it does a number of different things. Say, for instance, your event doesn't go well, it doesn't necessarily go well, or it doesn't even happen. At least you have all of these folks that you already connected to. You have these folks, and you could come, back. I would not try to do it all on your own.
Right.
We've been able to create a well, oiled human machine, if you will, because it's all volunteer. Our festival is all volunteer. I volunteer, as well as the founder, and I'm gonna be the one that's gonna greet folks, on the stage. We do this for a passion.
Right.
You know, it's this is our community, this is our legacy. I mean, I feel, just to do this in honor of, people like Fannie Lou Hamer. We're also going to honor Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
George
um,
Washington Carver.
we definitely want to raise up George Washington Carver. But another person who we also going to, honor, is Baba Sekou Odinga, as well. Got to, build with him before, he passed, and learned so much from him. And he was so open, to veganism, as well. Our community, I mean, like, listen, this dude, he done did so much work and been in so many different organizations. The Black Liberation Army, Black Panthers, but he's still open to the information that we have to share, as well, and still teaching. So, yeah, he resonated with so many different, folks. So we're gonna, raise him up, as well, and a lot of our different, our teachers and organizers. But organizing these, events, it's people power. It's people power. It's getting out to as many people as possible to help build up your event, and you're going to be beneficial to all the vendors because they want to get out. They're looking for a space to be able to get out, and educate folks, or to feed people, or to clothe them, or whatever they have to offer to our community.
Indeed, man. So let's talk about the farm real quick before we conclude. So you have your own farm. Let's talk about. So, did you buy the land, or like it was inherited to you? How do we get land, brother?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you another. So this is a sweet spot right there. It's so important for us to be able to get any piece of land, right now, particularly agricultural land. So over 3/4 of agricultural land is being grazed, by animals. So it's basically what folks are eating. If they're eating, beef, they're eating, chickens, or whatever the case may be. What the U.S. does is take land, even overseas. They will take land in a number of different ways. I won't go into all of the ways, but I got them in my book. But they will seize land in many different ways, and they will put animals on it, right? So the reason why they put animals on it, now people think that it's for your protein. No, it's because the government will basically allow them to be subsidized. So think about it like this. When you are talking about dairy, the dairy industry, and why the meat industry. So once they go ahead and they come up with the decision that they want to get dairy milk, they want to get meat, they want to chop up the cow, they want to do all of that. All of that is subsidized through the USDA for white farmers. 99% of all the dairy farmers, which also has a relationship easily with the meat industry, is white. Understand that. So that's why you are hooked to it. And that's why you're being driven to it. So you can be a consumer and not grow your food, which is the easiest source of nutrition. You're going to get your protein. You're going to get your micronutrients. You're going to get all those resources. So how do you get land? You can go to the US. You can go to the USDA, and there's discriminatory practices that are happening there. But we're learning which particular offices around the country that work the best. And right now we're starting in New York. But you know that you can go in if you have a passion to grow food. You can be able to get land, and the government will subsidize that. There's a process to that.
Okay.
You have to show that you are a farmer, or you're learning, or you've been a gardener. You got to show that you've been scaling up. We can help with that. You reach out to us at Liberation Farm. We'll help with that process. We want to see our community on land. So as long as you're going to do something in terms of growing the food. Now, farming is not necessarily, I would say some things are simple. Nothing in farming is easy.
Right.
There's nothing easy. It's just a simple thing. Somebody can explain it to you, and it could get complicated from there. But what we're growing here is carrots. There's hot peppers. There's cayenne, habanero, um, some other hot peppers as well. We also have this is baby eggplant as well. There's some watermelon that survived, from our other space, and we brought here. There's okra, there's tomato, as well. And I think I said carrot. Well, we have, and there's potato. There's two types of
Kale? You
potato.
got any kale?
We don't have any. We don't have any kale. There's no kale. Right now. That was one of the things that was, on our list. But a farmer told me, don't do all the things all the time.
Oh, okay.
So little by little. So we're doing some succession planting. We'll be planting, bringing those in. So kale, collard greens,
Yeah.
we're gonna bring that in a little later, because they're a little tougher when they get to maturity stage. They could actually survive, over here towards like early November. So we have so much time to still put them in the ground. So we can bring this information, to folks, as well. But we want to see folks on land. So if you go to the USDA, read that information. I'm telling you, now it becomes a process of which office to actually go to. We can help with that, because, listen, these offices are racist. And a lot of not enough BIPOC farmers, black farmers, are not saying that. And that's one of our big problems. And you see what I was saying before when I started off, was like, nobody is saying anything that was happening. Like, like they literally will not give you funds that you're supposed to have, and so that's why there was,
Discrimination.
yes, that's discrimination. That's running rampant, because, like, let's say for instance, and people might say, well, that's not all farmers. Nah, that's a huge majority. We're saying black farmers are denied at 35% of the time, right? 35%. You know what the average is of denial for annual and national between 2018 and 2023? It is 8%, meaning they don't deny that often. But when it comes to black farmers, it's 35%.
Whoa.
35%. When it comes to white farmers, now we're talking about 7.5%. We got these statistics. Liberation Farm did this particular work on Freedom of Information Act. We did a FOIA request. You look it up. It's a Freedom of Information Act. You can get basically information from the government, and you can ask any particular agency or department. And so we went to the the USDA and said, we want all this data and this information. Okay, who is being denied between 2018 and 2023? Because we keep getting denied. We also did in a national appeals, and we won. The judge said that we won, but we didn't win fast enough. So we still had they took land. We got land taken away. This right here, this is because we organized with farmers.
Okay.
This is because we organize with black folks. This is our land. Like, this actually happens to be the best freaking land in the country. This is in Orange County. We're in Orange County, New York. This is not too far from New York City, about an hour and a half. This is because the dirt is rich. You're talking about black dirt. So black dirt is basically 30 to 90% organic matter. Do you know what that means? Basically, most soil that's out here in the ground, just anywhere, it's going to be less than 1%. Less than 1%. You're talking about high nitrogen. So it grows well, really fast.
Right.
You're talking about a fast growth. It's almost like you in the Amazon. And that's what makes the Amazon a huge necessity. That's what makes deforestation, a huge problem. You're now stopping major growth.
Mm,
You understand? So those are very key. But we would love to help put people on the land. And one of the projects that we're doing with other farmers, like Roots and Culture, farm, that's recent. Liberated Lands, also recent. They both are based in New York, and this is about getting Black folks on land. But that's a process because we got to be able to trust each other.
right,
We got to be able to get work, do work, as well, man. But the land is beautiful. Think about land being peaceful. Think about you being able, what I'm saying, you got your herb, you know, you got teas being over here, folks over here making jellies. Everything is natural, straight out of the ground.
right,
It's a process. Being able to know how to take care of yourself. I'm doing a self-defense, you know, um, classes as well between August 31st and September 1st at Roots and Culture, farm. Folks are um able to attend Roots and Culture. This is going to be in Marlboro, New York. It's going to be incredible. It's incredible for our people to get on land and start doing more of these Black-centered events. And these Black-centered events, they just happen to be about us. Now, think about it. When you go to another country and they're doing a cultural ritual, nothing in your mind ever says, why are they focusing on them? But why are you thinking
mm,
that? But why would we focus? Why would we not think to focus on us? You go anywhere around the world. I went to a bunch of places around the world. No one ever is like, why are they focusing on them? You not focusing on yourself is a huge problem. For our community, we need to focus on ourselves. A lot more.
right,
But we need food sovereignty. But first, we need land. Without food sovereignty, you cannot have. Without land sovereignty, you can't have food sovereignty. You can't even have food without land.
right.
Remember that, y'all.
Right. So this is speaking about food sovereignty and farming and so forth. This is the summertime, man. This is like the most 90 plus degree weather I've seen in all my life, right?
Right.
Today is 90 plus degrees and so forth. What are the best fruits to eat during the summertime, brother?
Oh, the absolute best is gonna be watermelon. Put some watermelon with some mint. Oh my goodness! Now you talking about recharging. Get some basil. Or you do watermelon with some herbs. I mean, it's just incredible. The reason why when we got moved off of land, that really messed us up because we were in a town. We were in like all year round, produce. Down south, it's all year round. Better than that on the continent.
Mm,
So we have rich folks want the land like because not just the mineral deposits. We talking about the ability to just grow food, easily. You're talking about the soil, as well. Um, a lot of folks won't say it, but in North America, I mean, the soil ain't as good as in Africa. It ain't gonna be as great, on the continent. So, because the soil learns what you're doing when you're putting it in there. It adapts. It adapts. You put something in for the first time after a number of generations. That particular seed, that plant becomes so smart. It works so well with your food. And that's why you see in supermarkets, you're able to keep going food. Come on, that's a lot of this food that's being grown out here, man. We put this into our plans. We would really have something. Um, yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
mm. Man, it's all good. All right, brother. So we are concluded, man. Tell the people because there's some people who came on this live a few minutes ago, and there's some people who will see this live on YouTube later on today. So tell the people what you can expect at Black Veg Fest and any information to get in contact with you, registration, so on and so forth.
Oh yes. So tickets are free at Black VegFest. August 17th, and it's from 12 to 7. We definitely gonna have music. Legendary DP1 is gonna be there. He's also vegan, our vegan DJ. Um, who else we got? Let me
Yes,
see. Let me
yes.
see. We got Vegan Pops. Vegan Pop is also going to be our host as well. We got Chef Babette coming back. Dr. Mills is as well. Um, we have Sunny is coming, and she bringing her I forget. She's bringing her cuisine as well. She's doing a cooking class, but I know she's a particular food that she's coming with as well. Oh, vegan oxtail. She's bringing her
Okay,
vegan oxtail.
okay.
You know.
Yeah, that was a hit
Um.
last year.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. So she coming. She coming straight to ours. So we're gonna be great. We're gonna be incredible, man. We taking up the whole block. We on Lincoln Terrace Park, as well. There's gonna be plenty of this parking, but guess what? Guess what, y'all? I wouldn't even drive. I would just take the train. The train is 2 blocks away. 2 blocks away. We're right at Rochester and Eastern Parkway. Come on through, y'all. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be incredible.
Indeed, indeed. Talk about your books real quick,
Oh
brother.
yeah,
Before we leave, you're an author.
thank you.
Talk about first and foremost why you decided to write books and explain a little bit about the information in those books.
Oh yeah, I wanted to write an introduction to veganism, agricultural globalism, and get that out to give people a quick understanding of veganism, to kind of really talk about some of the major issues as well. And even if people didn't want to go vegan, they wanted to just just maybe grow some food for themselves, or just eat more plants, more plants for themselves. I also wanted to give them an international, a global view. So I talk about the sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana, Nigeria. I go over to Europe, and pick out some countries as well. Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka, India, Russia, China, and really talk about food in this particular way, in a global way. Like what are they eating there? What's happening? And how's the U.S. Why is the U.S. supranational, and why we say it's a it's a colonialist,
Right.
and imperialist empire as well. A lot of it is affecting folks' food, for a very long time. So I focus on those two aspects, the politics of food, but also the easiness of going vegan. So think about that. But then also, Brother Vegan is my other book, as well. Both books are you can find those books anywhere. They're also at if you want us to sign, if you want me to sign it, liberationfarm, .org. But you can find those books, anywhere. Brother Vegan has a bunch of, contributors to it. Dead Prez,
Mm.
and, is in there, ETEF, that's DJ Cavum, Tori Washington, Breeze, of course, who gave me also the love and the right to be able to put the book out, because she did Sister Vegan 10 years before that. Um, a number of great folks, in there, including Dr. Milton Mills, so a bunch of, incredible, dope brothers.
Man, brother, you are a very powerful, knowledgeable, informative brother, man. Keep up the good work. I appreciate your community activism. I appreciate your passion. I appreciate your consistency and your perseverance, man, and your entrepreneurship as well. There's a lot that we can learn from you, and I hope that you can continue to give us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Is there any last words that you would like to give to the people?
Y'all keep struggling. Definitely reach out to us, y'all. We're gonna build this space. We're gonna build this black space. We're gonna get this food. We're gonna grow it, and we're gonna have a great freaking time. It's gonna be an incredible time. And we're gonna do more than just change our mindset. We're gonna change our circumstances as well.
Mm.
So I want to thank folks. I want to thank you for having me. And I hope to see folks on August 17th. We're going to celebrate Marcus Garvey. We're going to understand a lot more about who Marcus Garvey is. So
Yes.
thank you so much, y'all. August 17th, 12 to 7 p.m. Get your tickets at blackvegfest.org or .com. It's going to bring you to blackvegfest.org. All right. And we will see you there.
All right, family. There you have it, man. August 17th, August 17th. Black Veg Fest. Again, man, it's the largest festival in New York City. So be there or be square. Man, family, I thank you for tapping in with us. Brother Omawale of Black Veg Fest, thank you for tapping in and accepting the invitation. Family, I leave you as I greet you. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, shalom. Hotep, Islam, Alafia. Peace.